all respected guests and delegates, kindly have your seats. We have to start this second grand panel. So please have your seats, please get settled. Kindly turn off your mobile phones. I'll do the same to mine. I'm indeed blessed. Everyone can hear? Okay, volume. Volume. I'm indeed blessed that I'm going to conduct this grand panel session in the auspicious presence of Paramadaraniye Mata Amritanandamayi Mataji. It is indeed my personal privilege to have her sanidhya on this wonderful occasion. I feel blessed and I feel really humbled and thankful to her Mata. So, the theme for today's grand panel is how do we accelerate Bharat's growth by leveraging the powers of education, the power of economy, and the power of technology. So these three dimensions, technology, economy, and power. Because unless we accelerate our global standing in economic terms, in military terms, and also in terms of what is often called as soft power or cultural terms, Bharat as a civilization will not be taken seriously. We have to be strong. We have to offer ideas to the world to solve global problems. And we have to be prosperous enough so that we have all the adequate resources to do what we want. Without these three things, we can talk a lot about Shreyas, the para, but if it is not anchored in apara, the progress is going to be limited. When we started on this journey of World Hindu Congress 2014 onwards, we were wondering, okay, what could eventually, in a larger scheme of things, could come out from auspicious gatherings like the one which we are having today. And some of us were able to identify some important challenges which are faced by the Hindus across the world. Internally, there are external challenges. We are not going to talk about those. And we identified 3 or 4 very important and fundamental challenges. The first challenge was related to Shiksha, education. How do we remove the domination of the left liberal thought, Marxist thought, and the anti-Hindu secular thought rapidly and mainstream the Hindu thought within Bharat and outside Bharat? This was the first challenge we thought about, we identified. Because only if we are able to do that, will we be able to harness the power of education to strengthen our economy. So this was challenge number 1. The second challenge, and this is a very unique challenge which Bharat faces, and I do not think there are clear answers as of now. Maybe Mohandas ji will provide us with some answers. That not only does the size of our economy grow from 5 trillion to 10 trillion to 20 trillion, But that wealth which gets generated, how does it spread to a very large number of people rather than remaining concentrated in the hands of a very selected few? Bharat is strangely placed in this direction because all other countries who have gotten rich, United States, Japan, China, Europe, they have had certain advantages which Bharat does not have. Bharat has other advantages. For instance, United States became rich and it was a democratic growth of economy because not only they worked hard, but they had almost free labor through acquisition of millions and millions of slaves which they imported from the United States. Europe became rich and that richness spread across a very large number of people because they worked hard, but not only they worked hard, they developed colonies. So like in United States, they got virtually free labor. In Europe, they had the advantage of importing a lot of resources virtually free. For instance, from Bharat itself, they imported something like $45 trillion, almost at no cost. So they became rich in that process. China, the most recent success story, it became rich because once again, they have worked hard. There's no alternative to working hard, but they have also gotten rich because there was a lot of demand in terms of outside markets, export markets, and because of that virtue, they got rich and they were able to spread their wealth fairly equitable, not fairly equitable, in fair terms. But now all those opportunities, neither they are ethical from standpoint of Bharat, we do not want to import slave labor, we do not want to exploit other countries, and the options of exporting on a very massive scale may be somewhat limited because China has the first mover's advantage. So this is the second very important challenge, that how do we generate self-employment, employment-intensive growth, economic growth over next several decades. And the third challenge we identified was how do you arrest and actually reverse the numerical decline of Hindus and the continuous shrinking of our territories. These are three very important challenges which Hindus face internally. There are external challenges, but that is not germane to this, to today's session. In context of today's panel session, panel discussion, we are going to address the first two bullets, the question related to education, and within education also, the second bullet, which is how do we harness the power of education to strengthen our economy. We are not going to address the left liberal, anti-Hindu, secular related point. And the second point which we are going to address is how to make every single Hindu economically prosperous. And the first step in that process will be how does the country itself grow. So that is the second purpose of today's panel discussion. So with these two motivating features of today's panel discussion, we have a wonderful suite of panelists. We have Professor Yogesh Singh, who is the Vice-Chancellor of Delhi University. We have Dr. Sridhar Vembu, who is the CEO of ZOHO Corporation. And all of us know Shri Mohandas Ji. He has led several, ventures and done wonderful jobs in the area of economy. He has been the prime driver on which made a very large company like Infosys magnificently successful. We'll give formal introductions of all these panelists a little while later. So these are the introductions once again of all the three panelists, Professor Yogesh Singh, Professor Sridhar Vembu, and Shri Mohandas Ji. I will cordially invite all three esteemed panelists to the stage and have their seats. We will start today's session, and each of these speakers is going to speak. Our first speaker, as I mentioned, is Professor Yogesh Singh. Professor Singh is the Vice-Chancellor, as I mentioned earlier, of University of Delhi, or Delhi University to be correct, with an additional charge of Director of SPA, New Delhi. He's also the chairperson of National Council for Teacher Education, Delhi. His high administrative acumen is evident as he has served as the Vice-Chancellor of Delhi Technological University earlier, Netaji Subhash Institute of Technology, Delhi, and he has also been the Vice-Chancellor of a wonderful university known as Maharaja Saiji Roy University of Baroda in Gujarat. He is an academician par excellence. He got his PhD in computer engineering from NIT Kurukshetra, and he became a professor at the age of just 35 years. He has a very impressive track record of quality teaching, innovation, and research in software engineering. So without much further ado, I'll request Yogesh ji to come and talk to us.
Good evening, Namaskar. Mata Amritanand Mai Devi ji, आदरणीय श्री सुरेश सोनी जी, दिनेश जी, प्रोफेसर नचिकेता तिवारी फ्रॉम IIT कानपुर, श्री श्रीधर वेम्बू जी, CEO ZOHO कॉरपोरेशन भारत, पद्मश्री PV मोहनदास पाई, चेयरमैन Aarin कैपिटल, distinguished and outstanding Hindu delegates and my dear friends. Namaste to all of you. Namaste. It's a matter of immense pride, pleasure, and privilege for me to talk about our great nation Bharat, which is considered as the mother of democracy in the world. The civilization credentials of our rich nation dates back 6,000 years BCE, popularly known as Sindhu-Saraswati civilization, followed by philosophically rich Vedic era, where local self-governance has been prominently mentioned. Inculcation of democratic values, ideas, and ethos has helped shape Bharat as a nation which has compassion for humanity. Compassion for humanity at large and equity in every action with simplicity, truthfulness, and dedication. That is the power of Bharat. I would like to quote renowned author, poet Shri Maithili Sharanagupta from Bharat Bharati. ये ठीक है कि पश्चिम बहुत कर रहा उत्कर्ष है, यह ठीक है कि पश्चिम बहुत कर रहा उत्कर्ष है, पर उसका पूर्व गुरु यह वृद्ध भारत वर्ष है, जाकर विवेकानंद सम साधु जन इस देश से करते रहे हैं कृत कृत्य अब भी अतुल उपदेश से. This is the power of Bharat. Since ancient times, though our culture has spread to the world outside, our Bharat has never encroached upon the sovereignty and freedom of other nations. You will not find other example in this world. A country of this size, but we have never encroached any country. और परसों जब मैं एयर इंडिया की फ्लाइट से आया और एयर इंडिया की फ्लाइट बैंकॉक में उतरी, जैसे ही उतरी और एक अनाउंसमेंट हुई कि स्वर्णभूमि एयरपोर्ट बैंकॉक में आपका स्वागत है, तो मन में खुशी से भर गए कि ये भारत की ताकत है. और तभी एयरक्राफ्ट के अंदर लोगों ने जय श्री राम के नारे लगाने शुरू किए. ये भारत की ताकत, भारत की संस्कृति, भारत की कल्चर है. उस सब के लिए और अपने पूर्वजों के लिए मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आप सब आए, आपका भी बहुत बहुत आभार। Buddhism was born in India, from where it spread to many other countries of the world. Hindu culture symbols, especially from Ramayana and Mahabharata, are widely spread over many countries of Southeast Asia like Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka. But our philosophy, what is our philosophy? Our philosophy is live and let live. That is, live and let live means what? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, a Sanskrit phrase from ancient Indian scriptures that means the whole world is one family. And when India got, we all know, India got the presidency of G20, then that was our motto. That is the culture and sanskar of Bharat. ये भारत की सभ्यता है, भारत के चिंतन की उपलब्धि है। But I would like to quote here our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. He said, I am proud to represent a country which has distinction of being named as the mother of democracy. We have had a great tradition of democracy for thousands of years. Our diversity is the hallmark of our strong democracy. A country that has dozens of languages, hundreds of dialects, different lifestyle, cuisines. This is the best example of a vibrant democracy. But Bharat has proved that Bharat has largest and strongest and vibrant democracy of the world. The vibrant democracy of the world, and in Bharat after independence also. Nobody has ever experienced any struggle in the power transfer. We have proved Mr. Churchill 100% wrong when Churchill said, Indians do not understand even D of democracy, and you want to experiment democracy, Mr. Attlee. Now we have proved after 75 years of independence that democracy is in the culture, in the blood, and in the genes of Bharat. Now Bharat has taken another pledge. एक और संकल्प लिया है कि भारत will be a developed nation by 2047. I am sure that we will achieve this goal with the help of education, economic growth, and technology. All these three words are very, very important for us. Education, economic growth, and technology. Just I would like to share a few things with you. After independence, India took 60 years to become $1 trillion economy. 60 years we took. In 2007, India became $1 trillion economy. But in 2014, just after 7 years, we became $2 trillion economy. 2019, we became $3 trillion economy just after 5 years. So 60 years, 7 years, 5 years, and last week we became $4 trillion economy only after 4 years, besides 2 years of COVID. Besides 2 years of COVID, and estimations are that by 2025, we will be a $5 trillion economy, and after 2030, India will add $1 trillion economy every year. So it means what? Something is happening very good in India. That initially we took 60 years to become $1 trillion economy. Now international rating agencies are also saying that India will add $1 trillion every year after 2030 for next 15-20 years. It means, and you know, when we talk about the slavery, I don't know again how many of you know that from 1900 to 1950, for 50 years in British rule, our growth rate was zero. Zero growth rate because of many things. This is not the time to discuss those. But here the question is, very important and pertinent question is, whether education drives economy or economy drives education. Although both go hands in hand, but still, education drives economy or economy drives education. Very interestingly, a finding of UNESCO shows that every dollar spent on education, as much as $10 to $15 is generated in the economic growth, which denotes that education is the root of a tree, and economic growth and overall well-being of a nation is a burgeoning tree where the technological inputs act as the supplements like water and minerals which are essential for a healthy tree to maintain productive forever. It means if we want economic growth, we should have universities, higher education institutions, school education, a very, very systematic, effective and impactful education system. In ancient times, Bharat was rich. Bharat was a developed nation because it was a knowledge society. So focus here is we have to become a knowledge society. Immediately we will be able to achieve the targets which are now we have set for ourselves. So that is why education system need reforms, need many, many changes which are expected. Although when we were a knowledge society, we used to have philosophers, scientists like Aryabhat, Chandakya, Charak, Sushrutu, Maharshi Kanad, Nagarjuna and so many. Right now, although many things are happening in education system, many things, and Government of India, Government of Bharat now has come up with national education policy to address these important issues. Because focus on education should be, higher education should combine tradition, transitions and innovations. These are not the words, but these are the things which are to be practiced. Develop critical thinking and problem solving skills, increase literacy level and cognitive skills, boost personal capabilities, efficiency and productivity, foster entrepreneurship and startups, motivate and promote creativity. But how is the question? How to do it? Yes, we do understand that these are the things which we should do it, but how? It means what? To become a knowledge society, we would like to focus on skill orientation, knowledge, Indian knowledge system, values and virtues in our education system. It means what? Yesterday also when I was speaking, we need such teachers. We need teacher-type teachers to implement these things. Otherwise, we will not be able to. It is very easy to talk about values and virtues, but those who will implement, if their mindset is very different, how will be able to achieve this? That is the biggest challenge of the education system. And we need to develop a balanced and civilized mindset. We need to, because adding dollars in economy is one thing, but how to is another thing. But to stabilize things, we need to balance and civilize mindset. Someone has rightly said कि जिंदगी में ऐसा करो कि दोनों का काम चलता रहे. जिंदगी में ऐसा करो कि दोनों का काम चलता रहे, हवा भी चलती रहे और दिया भी जलता रहे. This is the biggest challenge of education system कि हवा भी चलती रहे और दिया भी जलता रहे. That's why we need teacher type teachers कि जिसके पास ना जो होगा वो देगा. नेगेटिव आदमी नेगेटिविटी बांटेगा, पॉजिटिव आदमी पॉजिटिविटी बांटेगा, दुखी आदमी दुख बांटेगा, खुशी आदमी खुश बांटेगा, क्योंकि जिसके पास जो होगा वो देगा. That's why we have to develop systems for recruitment of teachers. When we are recruiting teachers, what are we saying? MA है, fine. 60% MA, good. Then net pass है, PhD है, it's okay. Eligibility, fine. But then how to address this issue? That whether a person is having the right kind of mindset, also teacher type mindset. This is the biggest challenge, and now time has come to relook, revisit our processes of recruitment of teachers. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve the targets. क्योंकि अभी टीचर्स को भी क्या है, सबको गिला है कि हमको कम मिला है, पर कभी वो ये नहीं सोचते, ये तो सोचो आप जितना कितनों को मिला है. So the point here is, mindset is very important. So our education system should teach us that how to experiment compassion, kindness, goodness, happiness, and help to develop leaders who would like our nation forward in the right direction. Another important aspect, which is what? The development of academic leadership in education systems. Most of the time, what is happening, we are not getting right kind of leaders, so we have to develop academic leaders. But the question is, can we develop academic leaders? Or academic leaders, we have to only identify and then, finish them. This is an open question, but still, we need right kind of leaders here. I would like to quote here Charles Morris, who has rightly said, I am more afraid of an army of 100 sheep led by a lion than an army of 100 lions led by a sheep. That is the power of leadership. Means what? Leaders should be decisive, trustworthy, reliable, unbiased, open mind, accept challenges, take bold decisions. Take bold decisions where other hesitates. Most of the time what happens, we don't have the courage to take those decisions which we are expected to take. That's why it happens. You know, in 2011, I became Vice-Chancellor of MS University of Baroda, Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda. So I thought, let me talk to some senior Vice-Chancellors and take their advice, because their advice could help me to become a successful Vice-Chancellor. But what common advice came, I would like to share, which is very, very important. Say, if you want to be, common advice, if you want to be a successful Vice-Chancellor in any university of India, Bharat, then please don't do 3 things. पहले तो वो negative से ही शुरू हुआ कि please don't do 3 things. First is, do not do any construction in the university. Second, please don't do any recruitment in the university. Third, please do not go for expansion in the university. All these 3 things may create confusion and, you know, negativity. You may come in trouble if you want to be successful. Don't do these things. Then what should I do? Say, focus on innovation, teaching learning process, research ecosystem. Talk about those things. ऐसी बातों पे बात करो जिसका आउटपुट 15 साल से पहले नहीं आए. So your life will be very, very comfortable. Your life will be very comfortable. There will not, so don't set any such parameters. Although I do believe, I respect that all these 6 words are very important for education system, but 3 words are for the foundation of the education system, because when we got independence, we were 36 crore or 40 crores, including Pakistan and Bangladesh. Now, Bharat is a country of 140 crore. So without expansion, we cannot survive. We should go for expansion, because India, we have large youth, and if premier institutions will not do it, then who will do it? This is the question, and the word has entered now a transformative era, and like Industry 4.0, Web 3.0, Genetics 2.0, everywhere, like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, robots, crypto technology, data analytics, machine learning. But in earlier industrial revolutions, we could not take part in the automobile and many. But now time has come. We should not only take part, but we have the capability and potential to assume leadership in some of the revolutions. We cannot miss. And if we will now miss this opportunity, those who will follow us will not forgive us for our tardiness and negligence and callous attitude also. That's why this is the time is right, direction is right. Only, you know, we have to focus on this innovation, entrepreneurship and creativity. We have, then and only then, we will be able to contribute in the economy of the country, because first we want to eradicate poverty from India. These numbers speak things. Only we should know how to read these numbers. If you have to eradicate poverty, if we have to give a good life to every citizen of Bharat, then we have to add $1 trillion every year in the economy. And this education will play a very, very fundamental, important role in the roots, in the foundation of our sankalp, which India has taken, Bharat has taken, that it will be a developed economy by 2025. So I sincerely feel that Bharat will progress steadily on the unshakable fundamentals of democratic ideals and ethos through citizen-centric approach towards development. Education at all levels will not only enrich our national life in every possible way, but also help us a harmonious life in close synchrony with the mother nature in the sustainable manner, because everyone talks about the sustainability. We want economic growth subject to sustainable development goals. Professor Nachiketa rightly said, when other developed countries were there, there were no sustainable goals, but yes, it is in our culture that we want growth rate, we want development subject to the subject to maintaining the standards of sustainable development goals. That's why our challenges are bigger, deeper, difficult, complex, but we would, when we have taken a sankalp, we will achieve this because this is the power of Bharat and this is the power of education system of the Bharat. I am very confident that in our lifetime, we will be able to eradicate poverty from India and a very good life for every citizen of Bharat. And this Hindu conference and Congress will play a very, very important and significant role. I am extremely thankful for the invitation. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Yogesh ji. Professor Yogesh Singh is a very dynamic and innovative administrator of educational institutions. I'll give you just one example. So we had interactions, Swamiji and I, we met him in context of getting his support to launch Master of Arts Hindu Studies program at Delhi University. And we said that we would like this Hindu Studies program in such a way that it attracts the finest and the best minds of students. It should not be that, you know, people who do not have options, they end up with this particular program. And we said, maybe if you can offer some additional majors or minors, so you get 2 degrees while applying for the same degree. Immediately he said, okay, for year 1, we will offer Hindu Studies, which will also have a minor option. So I'll give you some examples. So you can get a Master of Arts in Hindu Studies, major is Hindu Studies, and you can get a minor in Data Analytics. Another minor is Computer Science. Another minor is Commerce. Another minor is Political Science. Now think about the implication of that. The largest number of students who enter into IAS program, they take political science as a subject. If we have smart students who are doing Hindu studies, they have a Hindu mindset, they learn political science, and if they qualify into UPSC, then for next 30, 40 years, that person will be doing IAS related responsibilities with a Hindu mindset. You have a minor in computer science, so then the person goes with a Hindu mindset to some of the best IT and computer science related companies in the world, and he does his job or her job wonderfully, but when the person interacts with the overall environment of that particular industry, he or she has a Hindu mindset. So we need the software of the person at some level, you know, the operating system of the person to be Hindu, and then the subsequent systems could be, you know. So these types of innovations he has implemented in his university. Our next speaker is Dr. Sridhar Vembu. You can read his biography here, so I will not read the biography, but I wanted to cite something other in addition to whatever is there in the biography. See, in the Hindu tradition, or actually amongst Hindus, there are 4 mainstream tracks: the Vedic track, the Bauddha track, the Sikh track, and the Jain track. All these tracks are anchored in one very unique common feature, which is knowledge. And this knowledge is embedded in the terminology itself. So you have Vedic, Ved, knowledge. Bauddha, Buddha, Buddhi, knowledge. Jain relates to Jinn. Jinn is a person who conqueror or himself or herself, and you can do that again through knowledge. And then you have a Sikh who is a Shiksha, who follows the Shiksha of the Gurus. Again, knowledge. That is the overarching theme of the Hindu civilization. Sridhar Vembu belongs to that tradition. And he's a very humble person. He's a very humble person. He has a PhD from Stanford, but he doesn't like to call himself as Dr. Sridhar Vembu. But I have still put doctor there without his consent, because if I remove that, then I will disentitle myself to being a doctor, because I have also earned a degree. I think it is valuable. So without further ado, I'll ask Sridhar to talk to us.
Amma, okay, namaskaram. So, greetings, namaskaram to everyone. I'm so happy to be in Bangkok, the first time in Thailand for me. I'm going to link together the three topics in my time: the education, technology, and economy. And first, a little bit of background. I run this company, ZOHO Corporation, about 15,000 employees. I personally live in a small village in Tenkasi district. Tenkasi is literally Dakshin Kashi. In Tamil, Ten means south. So Dakshin Kashi, which is about maybe 3,000 kilometers from the actual Kashi, Varanasi. But which also tells you how much our nation is so linked. That Dakshin, I live in a place literally called Dakshin Kashi. And it's a small village, panchayat, about 2,000 people. And average income probably is about maybe 1.5 lakh per year. So, per year. So, maybe it's below our GDP of the order of maybe $1,500, $2,000 per capita income. That is what we are talking about. That's the village I live in. That's my neighbors. And so the fundamental challenge is, of course, education, skills. And this is, sorry, I'll speak up. I'll come closer to the mic. So the fundamental challenge is, of course, education, skill development. And there I run a school there as well now for my neighbors' kids, basically, all of the neighboring kids. And the fundamental thing I'll tell you, and this is something we also learned in ZOHO the same way, which is that most of our education today is, I'm going to call it context-free imposition of formalized knowledge. That's what I'm going to call it. You are going to learn something very formalized, and you're going to learn it context-free. What does context-free mean? I don't know any purpose why I should learn this. I have no motivation to learn it. I'm told I should learn it. That's what is most of education today. And I can tell you most of the poor kids are absolutely not interested in that type of education. They simply drop out or they don't care. Their immediate question is, help me learn some skill, help me make money. Well, when you're poor, that's all your focus should be. How do I make a living? So all these nice things I don't care about. And even if you're going to teach me mathematics, you are going to link it to why I should learn it, why that is relevant, how it's going to help me make money. That's about 80% of the kids in my school. So that's the first thing. In fact, one of the students told me, 10th standard, he was on verge of dropout, and he told me, sir, you cheated me, he told me. You brought me saying that you will help me educate, but you are only making me study. I didn't come here to study, he told me. I came here to learn some skills. I didn't come here to study. He told me this in Tamil. In Tamil, his choice words were, "Padikka sonna school varamata." Like, if you make me study, I won't come to school. That's what he told me. So then I started a workshop for him. In fact, now about 5 kids are in the workshop program, because practical skills. There they show a lot of motivation. So that's the first thing, that context-free imposition of formalized knowledge. And the way I give the analogy is, we are teaching now our children, broadly our education consists of, you don't learn to ride a bicycle, you learn all about bicycles in a classroom. That's what we are effectively doing. And we have to change it. Well, what's the alternative? It has to be contextual, it has to be relevant to where they live, and it has to be experiential. You have to ride the bicycle first. Then only you learn about the physics of it or mathematics of it, all of that, the technology of it, all of that. So that is the education model that we are really creating there. And we have experience doing that already. We have the ZOHO Schools of Learning, which is our program after school. That is, it's the alternative to college, as we call it. In fact, our motto itself, our logo itself says contextual, relevant, and experiential. That's the whole point of ZOHO Schools of Learning. We take students after they finish their school. Sometimes they haven't finished their school, and they come to us typically at the age of 17 or 18, sometimes 19, 20, and they spend about a year, and they actually become employees after about 1.5 to 2 years. And we pay them to do this. So that is the model. We have about 15% of our company coming from that program today. 15% of our entire engineering workforce has no degrees at all. That's 15% of engineers in our company don't have degrees. That came from this contextual, relevant, experiential education program we created. Approximately out of now about 1,500 to 2,000 of the engineering workforce comes from this. And then what is the purpose of the education? All of this, to me, cultivate curiosity so that they can go on, keep on learning. Because learning is going to be lifelong. I'm still learning. I'm still learning new things about software. I still work on code. I still work in computer science. I'm still learning. My learning is never going to be finished. So it's only a curious mind that you have to cultivate this lifelong learning. So that brings me to the next topic, technology. The whole curious mind is what builds capabilities. Like if I don't know something today, I go and learn. I teach myself. Essentially, all of the learning is happening within. The teacher is only a catalyst. The guru is a catalyst. They light a lamp, they open a door, but we must walk. And we must experience the light within. And that is our dharma. That is what all our gurus say. They can only light the lamp. We must open our eyes. And that building of capabilities, that is important because, and as all the other speakers now have highlighted already, our standing in the world now depends crucially on our technology capabilities. As long as we remain dependent very much on technologies that the idea is they get invented elsewhere, we just use them, we just acquire them, we never invent anything. As long as that mindset is there, we will always have a low standing in the world. So to improve our standing in the world, we must invent. And we must have domestic capabilities. And that comes from, I told you, the education which has to cultivate that curious mind. And that comes to now, in terms of our technologies today, if you look at Bharat, if you go to a factory, I go to our Coimbatore belt, which is one of the most highly industrialized belts of all of India. And it's probably the most industrialized part of our state, Tamil Nadu, but it is maybe the most industrialized district in all of India today. And you will see lots of factories, textile mills, manufacturing, all of that. But what is interesting is we have the factories there, but we don't actually own the technologies. And if you ask the factory owners, they'll tell you, well, labor costs have gone up. I'm not able to compete with Bangladesh. And I'm not able to compete with Kenya. And because the labor costs have gone up and the jobs are leaving now. And then I asked them, where do you get your machines from? Switzerland and Germany. And somehow you never think of competing with them. You only will compete with Bangladesh, I tell them. Right? So that's my answer. I said, well, you look to the supplier. Somebody is selling you high value machines. We are not in those markets. We are only competing for labor with Bangladesh from this district. In that district now, you can no longer compete with Bangladesh. The cost of living is too much, the wages are too high, you cannot compete with Bangladesh. So you have to go somewhere and then you have to upgrade your economy. This is true for the nation as a whole. We have to upgrade our technology capabilities in order to gain our standing in the world. And that comes from the first thing I said, cultivation of the curious mind. And I'm talking about the R&D mindset. And this brings to the next topic, the biggest challenge today for our nation, Bharat, is how to create jobs for the tens of millions of youth pouring into the workforce every year. And to give you the scale of this, we have 23 million babies in India, 22 maybe now. China is only about 9.5. The US, for comparison, is about 4 or 3.5 or 4 million. So we are 2 Chinas plus 1 America right now. And maybe you can throw in a Japan. There may be some little leftover, and you throw in a Japan too. So that's 2 Chinas plus 1 America plus maybe a Japan. That's the number of babies we have actually. And this has come down, by the way. At the peak, India was at about 27 million. It's rapidly coming down, but China is coming down even faster. So Chinese used to have 28, 30 million babies. Now they do 9 million babies. You can see the scale of the demographic bust. And India, it is 27 to now down to 22, and it's dropping. But it's not dropping fast enough compared to China. So this is our challenge, and how to create jobs for at least the 10, 12 million people who are going to pour into the workforce. Even at our relatively low labor force participation ratio, we need those jobs. And none of the available models of development today create all these jobs. That's the problem. And particularly in rural jobs, and this is again leads to another issue, everybody cannot move to Mumbai. I was in Dharavi, as everybody knows, the biggest slum in the world. I was in Dharavi about a month ago on some social program. On about 700 acres, almost 1 million people. We cannot move more people into our cities because we'll be creating more and more Dharavis. It's not possible. So we need to distribute our development. I call it district-driven or decentralized development. And that connects to the technology thread I talked about. The only way to do it, and this is actually in Coimbatore, it's visible, we need control of the factory goods, the capital goods, the production goods. And we have to invent them, reinvent them, I'm going to say, so that they are much lower in cost and they enable much more decentralized production. And the revolution here I'm talking about is exactly like how from a mainframe we went to a PC to a mobile phone. The phone in your pocket is now more powerful than a mainframe maybe 60 years ago. So we brought that price of computing power so low now. And this revolution has to happen in capital goods. And again, the reason why it will happen is the same software-driven trend is coming there as well. We call it mechatronics, where the power is conveyed electrically and controlled electronically, controlled through software. So to give you an idea of the mechatronics, a Tesla car is actually mechanically a lot simpler device than an internal combustion car. Mechanically, a lot fewer parts. So an electric vehicle is actually a simpler thing to make. An electric auto rickshaw, like the one I drive, is a very, very simple device that can actually be made anywhere, in any district. But we need the capital goods. That's where the R&D comes in. So we need to harness our brain power to invest in R&D so that we can create the low-cost capital goods, so that we can create decentralized production, decentralized jobs. Our districts, our rural districts, our 800 plus districts can remain viable economically, that we don't all have to export all our people to Mumbai and Chennai and Bangalore and Delhi and make those cities even more super crowded. And that is also ultimately comes down to the idea of balance. That what is all this development for? Is GDP God? And today the Western paradigm of development is GDP is God. There's nothing other than GDP. The secular world is now GDP is God, pretty much. We worship the GDP. Every quarter we celebrate it, and that's all. Pretty much we run for GDP. But I live in a village and I know this, that there's, the very poor person needs more money, absolutely. But they are not aspiring to so much more, that they are not actually aspiring to a lifestyles that we might attribute to the rich and famous. And that's because they are grounded. There is a lot of, for example, temple festivals. I know every month there is some festival or something coming along. The life is actually culturally and spiritually rich. My own consumption, unit of energy, has come down drastically after I moved to the village. Automatically, I didn't intend to do this. It automatically came down. By living in a village and living among my neighbors, my consumption has come down. And I only eat about 1.5 meals a day now. And I mostly walk around, and I bicycle or electric auto, all of these. And I don't use AC at all anymore. And I'm surrounded by a lot of trees and nature, so consumption naturally comes down. This is essential today because I talked about development, I talked about technology, I talked about all of this, technology-driven development. But what's the ultimate goal if we destroy the planet in all this? If the average Indian, the average rural citizen of India is going to consume at the level of the average American, the planet is finished. The planet is absolutely finished. There is no other way. We must accept that fundamental truth, reality. We cannot have the emissions per capita of an America and India. The planet cannot withstand it. And this is a fundamental truth we must be aware. That means that after all of our economic growth, all of this, we must achieve the balance. The ultimate balance is the balance with nature, Mother Nature herself. And that is ultimately from Hindu spirituality. So I'm going to end this here. And that is contentment. The Kanji Mahaswami, the guru of our people, he said the essence of Hindu spirituality can be summarized in only 2 words: contentment and humility. All of spirituality comes from contentment and humility. That's what he said. You don't have to do anything else. You stay humble, you stay contented. That is spirituality. This has to be built into our economic framework, how we think about economics. And this only Bharat can do. Only our nation can do this, because this is where Bharat has to become a Vishwa Guru, spreading this message of humility and contentment in our lives. So that's all I have to say today. So I summarize my talk. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Thank you.
Contentment and humility. So actually, Dr. Vembu actually lives that. So he's entitled to talk about that. Our third speaker is Shri Mohandas Bhaiji. He's a man of thousands of ideas. You talk to him and in 5 minutes you'll have like 10 different ideas. But believe me, every one of them, those ideas is actually a very good idea. So when you talk to him, you should listen to him very carefully. And he keeps on generating those ideas, maybe because of his professional experience. He was a CEO, which is very difficult job than say a CMD or something, or CFO. It's a day-to-day struggle. You have to solve a lot of problems in the real world. And once you acquire those skills, then you can become a man of 1,000 ideas, and every one of those ideas will be a good idea. So I'll just read his biography, which is there on the screen. He's a veteran in finance, accounting, IT, HR. Kya? Nahi padhe? Theek hai. So it's there, and I request Mohandas ji to talk to us, speak. He has the clicker.
Our beloved Amma, namaskar to you. And all our brothers and sisters here. We are united in coming here to discuss how Bharat can become a great country where every Bharatiya will have the necessities of life, where every Bharatiya can realize their dream. There shall be no poverty and Rama Rajya shall prevail. Especially at a time when in February, Sri Rama will go back to his city of birth. After 500 years of oppression, after 500 years of a sword being put in the heart of every Hindu, we shall regain what was ours. So let me now talk to you about how Bharat will become prosperous through, economic activity will produce jobs. Let me give you data, because not every Bharatiya knows where Bharat is today. And you should know, we are 1.4 billion people. Population is only growing at 0.8%. Fertility is 2.0, below replacement rate. The whole of the South fertility is 1.7. We are not producing enough babies to maintain the population. India will age, and by 2045, our population may decline, absolutely. Bengal is 1.6, Punjab is 1.6, UP is 2.3, Bihar is 2.9. And among all communities, the Jains have a fertility of 1.2 only. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And 50, 60 years, we'll only have old people belonging to the Jain faith. Amma told us this yesterday. And Amma warned all of us, this is the biggest danger to the Hindu community. We are 120 crores Hindus. 15% of humanity is Hindus. Our voice should represent 15% of humanity. We are one of the largest populations in the world. Our GDP is only about 3%. Our GDP is 3.47 trillion. Life expectancy is low. Our PPP, purchasing power parity GDP, is 12.2 trillion. Bharat has the highest PPP multiple in the world, 3.5 times. The economy is undervalued. The data is there. And you can see export imports, we have done well over the last many years. We don't have too much foreign borrowing like China has. And you can see there, between 1991 to 2023, population only grew at 1.49%. Literacy grew to 0.55%. And you can see this remarkable thing. Let me give you data. In 1950, Bharat was the richest country in Asia. China was destroyed in the war. Southeast Asia was destroyed in the war. Japan was destroyed in the war. Of the 5 richest families in Asia, 3 were Indian. Great Britain owed us 1.5 billion pounds for the war effort. 25 lakh Indians fought for the Allies in the Second World War. They paid us 20% of what they paid a British soldier, even then 1.5 billion. Throughout history, India was the richest country in the world along with China. In 1750, China made up 45% of world GDP. Then came the invention of the steam engine in Great Britain, and Europe became the greatest power in the world. And then we had colonial exploitation where the Europeans came to rule India. The East India Company ruled India, the Crown ruled India, and between 1757 and 1947, the British looted $45 trillion of our wealth in today's term, as per a research by Ursa Patnaik, Dr. Ursa Patnaik of Columbia University. We were a rich country throughout history because we produced agricultural surpluses. We are the largest quantum of arable land in the world. Because we are a rich country with surpluses, we had great sages and munis and rishis who thought about the finer aspects of life and built the greatest philosophy the world has seen in our history. For 1,000 years, we fought battles against this jihadi Islamists. We lost much of things, but we resisted. We still survived. There are only 2 great civilizations which survived for 5,000 years, China and India. Everybody is gone, but we shall survive. Because great people like Amma are there. And then, while you clap now, please shed some tears for poor Bharat. Our first Prime Minister studied at Harrow, Cambridge, Fabian School, and he brought socialism to India. Pliny the Elder 2000 years ago wrote, "Trade with India will impoverish Rome." Because we spent spices and textiles, and they had to loot other countries to pay us in gold and silver. We have 35,000 tons of gold, 2 lakh tons of silver in this country. The largest collection of gold in the world is in India, all on our beautiful mothers. Amma doesn't have it, she gives it to others, but everybody else has it here. And that is the country which our first Prime Minister ruined by bringing in socialism, price controls, license quota Raj. He suppressed Indian capital and the Indian entrepreneur. In Nehru's reign, Sridhar Vembu could not be a billionaire or start his company. In the first 30 years of our freedom, GDP grew by 3.5%, population grew by 2.5%, income grew by 1% a year, Asia grew by 6.5%, the world grew by 4.5%, but 1990 we are poorer relatively than 1950. We became poorer. Everywhere in the world they looked down upon an Indian, poor fellow. In 1967, we lived ship by ship because there's famine. Nehru destroyed agriculture. And Lyndon Johnson sent us food under PL 470. That is the status. 1990, we opened up. GDP grew 5.5%, population grew 2.25%, and then the per capita income grew 3.25%, but our debt grew from 20 billion in 1990 and 1980 to 80 billion by 91. 91 we are broke, 15 days of foreign exchange. We opened up, and then what happened? GDP grew from 275 billion to 3.47 trillion, 8.24% in dollar terms for 32 years. Throughout history, no country has grown faster than that except China. And then in rupees, it grew from 5,32,000 crores to 272 lakh crores, 13.08%. Remember that. You don't have to apologize for anything in this world. We have grown, we've shown the economy because we got our economic freedom fact. People like Sridhar, Vembu and other entrepreneurs like Narayan Murthy have shown the world what we can do as entrepreneurs. In the US, United States, there are 35, 40 CEOs of Indian origin. Many of them, Amma, were driven away from Tamil Nadu by these DK fellows. They cut their kudmi, cut the sacred thread and humiliated them and made a heap of the sacred thread. From Mailapur, all the mummies send their children out to America to educate. Now they're laughing all the way to the bank, becoming giant, heading giant companies, becoming billionaires. While the poor fellows who cut their kudmi are still doing menial jobs in Tamil Nadu. I feel sorry for Tamil Nadu, such a great state where Sridhar Vembu was born. You can see export and import, they're all growing. And remember, people say India is not investing. India invests $1 trillion a year. 31% of GDP it is here, every year is published. There are only 3 countries in the world who invest more than $1 trillion. United States, China and India. We invest $1 trillion a year. Government invests $250 billion. Don't believe all the lies of the leftist economists. Compare only with China. China has got a bigger population. UN says we are bigger, but we'll see. Chinese live 80 years. Literacy is 96%. You know why? When Mao took over in 1949, Mao said, women hold up half of heaven. He educated China's women. When Nehru became prime minister, he didn't educate our women. He didn't put money into primary education, primary health. Our women are not educated. Any society which suppresses women, doesn't educate women, will not prosper. We didn't prosper for 30 years. Women are the key. Amma, I told my friend Reva Call, that she must in the United States form a group, the Kali Global. And she must have a brand here, awaken the Kali in you. Because only Kali Ma can save this country. When all the mothers of India come and say, we are Kali Ma, nobody can oppress them. Even Shiva, Lord Shiva, the destroyer, will not stand in front of Kali Ma. And these are all of Kali Ma. They must come forward, form this group, save this country, and take Bharatvarsha forward. Because when women rule the country, children will get educated. Society will prosper. They will bring peace and prosperity like Amma has done. Amma spent a whole life educating everybody else, sacrificing a life for everybody else. And now you can see here, we didn't educate women, we suffered. China is 20 trillion, opened up in 1978. Can we become like China? No, but you can grow like China. We can't become like China. There is hope for this country. That's why this data is important. Compare India only with China, not any country. Can you compare with Finland? UK is 1/20th of India in population. UP is some 4 times what UK is. America is 25% of our population. Don't compare with all those countries. None of them have 1 billion people each, only China. This is how we have grown. We're the fastest growing economy in the world. And this is important. Global GDP is $110 trillion, and this decade, emerging markets outside the OECD could be faster growing than the OECD. Global economic power will shift to the emerging markets, to shift to Asia this decade. But savings will be with the OECD, and they will still control, but they're shifting. Geopolitics is changing. China has become a great power from 1978. USSR is gone. America is now worried about China. They want India on their side because India will be the great power. China came to a border. Modi-san told our soldiers, defend the border. I had a senior military officer, he told me, Soldiers were standing arm to arm against the Chinese. You shall not come in. They're now defending our borders because the orders are very clear. And we don't have to be scared. Our army will defend. Earlier in the UPA, these were not clear. I was told, when the Pakistanis shoot across the border, they were told not to shoot back to save ammunition. I got other stories, I will not tell it now. But look at this, the world is changing rapidly. And you can see here GDP growth projection. In the next $10 trillion come by 2032, 2033, we could be $10 trillion, provided the rupee stays quiet. Our problem is we're growing in rupees, not in dollars, because the exchange rate for certain, we are the large oil importers. We have a strong industrial base, 125 million tons of steel last year, 140 million tons this year, 160 million tons capacity, going up to 300 million tons by 2030. Second largest in the world, second largest producer of cement, two-wheelers largest, four-wheelers fourth largest, construction second largest, IT, yes, electricity production. It's a large economy, very large economy. Pricing is low. Coal, 1 billion tons we consume. The smog in Delhi is because from Peshawar to Dhaka, there's a 3-kilometer layer of smog, which comes down in winter, goes up in summer, because 1 billion tons of coal is burned there with 30% ash. Kejriwal thinks, odd, even and all, he can do something. Nothing can be done. They have to solve this problem. None of them look at data. IIT Kanpur has spoken about this data. Iron ore, third largest, aviation, railways, roadways, ports, everything is growing up. Food, second largest producer in the world after China. We got the largest quantum of arable land in the world. Our productivity is poor. Second largest quantum of irrigated land in the world. And livestock is the largest. Amma, in India, cattle has got human rights, fundamental rights. They can wander all over the place. Only country in the world. Because we believe God has created everybody. Everybody has got equal rights. The only country in the world which gives animals we worship. When we had 1 lakh tigers in 1900, by 1947 only 5,000 is left because the Maharajas and the British killed them. You can see milk, largest producer, cotton, largest producer, horticulture, second largest after Brazil, sugar, largest, spices, largest. It's a very large country. And then, stock market, 5,300 listed companies, $3.89 trillion of value. We get $80 billion of FDI, and we got 46 lakh crores in the mutual funds, growing every year. And jobs, we're getting jobs. EPFO has data. 1 crore 58 lakh people joined EPFO with Aadhaar last year. The tragedy is 80% of the salary, 80% of the jobs pay less than 20,000 rupees. We must get high quality jobs. Only 20% pay more than 20,000 rupees. But we're producing jobs. And 26% are women. Data is there. People say jobless growth, job nahi, unemployment. Unemployment has come down. In Karnataka, it's 3.2%. You're not getting people. All our construction workers come from North India. From Bihar. Bihar is the poorest thing. Yesterday I saw that Lalu's son say, Bihar leads India because he made caste census. Bihar per capita income is 70,000 rupees. Karnataka is 3,85,000. India is 2 lakh rupees. And they think they lead India. Caste politics doesn't work. See the data. Now here is the big thing you must all understand. We are living in the era of the digital revolution. The industrial revolution created Europe. The digital revolution shall create India. There are 3 great digital powers in the world, United States, China, and India. China has created the Chinese firewall, so they can't go out, they're great companies. India and the United States are together, and I'll give you data. Out of 8 billion people, 5.56 billion people have a mobile phone. The mobile has become the new brain in the hand for our young people. Many of us are analog generation. Some of us work in digital companies are analog digital. Our children now are meta generation. They move from virtual reality to reality simultaneously without knowing the difference. So we have to deal with them because that is the future, and there we will dominate. We will dominate the digital revolution. 15 years ago, the internet came, which created this platform where billions of people can deal with each other synchronously and asynchronously, 24/7, to get education, to get health, financial services, do business, everything else. All knowledge of humanity is available there for free. It's fantastic. And in this digital revolution, we shall dominate. India shall be a great power. Europe is gone. Europe is an American colony. They're not there. Name one great European company apart from SAP, which is legacy. Not there, right? And in the next 10 years, we're going to see more change than the last 30 years, led by digital. The biggest 10 most valuable companies in the world, 8 are digital today. Look at that. Nachiketa, the market is talking. Right? Sridhar, you got a long way to go, man. You're worth how much? 10, 20, 30 billion. Better go back and work 24 into 7 and come to Bangalore, not in Tanaki, okay? You got to be 100 billion in 3 years. The US runs the world cloud. The US is dominant power where all our data is. Our data is stored in America. The National Security Agency of America knows our data. They know what we eat, what we think, where you go, everything. They control Swamiji's mind also. Swamiji, be careful. We want the data back in India so our government can protect us. Unless our data resides in India, government protects us, we'll be lost. What, Nachiketa? The left says surveillance. What surveillance? Uncle Sam already knows about you. Nachiketa knows about this. Big techs, they're spending money. We are in danger of digital monopolies around the world. And we can show you. Look at this data. 2 companies control the world in every of this area. Mobile operating system, Google and iOS, Apple. Internet search, Google, social media, Meta, cloud, Amazon, Microsoft. No other company from Europe, gone. No Japan, no India also. And most of them are run by Indians. Who runs Google? Huh? Who runs Microsoft? Social media, Meta, Amazon. Coming up next year. Google, okay? Tech is now the lattice of human evolution. Tech will dominate, and we dominate tech. Airbnb, that company has become the largest hotel company in the world. Spotify uses AI to create weekly personalized playlists, become very big. We are in the age of robotics. In Foxconn, 11 lakh girls are working. 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, staying in hostel. They went to the boss and said, we want more panam, more rokada. They said, you want more money? Really? Started replacing 50,000 girls every year by robots. Robots are now dexterity in the fingers. They can assemble things and they're all automatic. Robots don't want salary increases, no work-life balance. So all of you who ask for work-life balance, be careful. You go to HR, they'll say, what is work, what is life? You got to be careful. See what is happening. Robots will do 60% of what human beings do. India, it will take 10 more years because we still have to build roads, houses and all that. Look at this. Adidas is making shoes in Europe using 3D printing. Removed the factories from China, went to Europe, that's 3D printing, designed in Bangalore, press a button, it prints and sells. Robotics has come up. And they're creating exoskeletons to enable people to become Superman. You create a great skeleton and you can do this. All this is happening. Implanting chips. Elon Musk wants to put a chip in your mind to control. When you sit at home, you want to see TV channel, somebody is talking next to you. You don't want to hear the talk, press a button, that voice will be cancelled. Don't tell me whose voice should be cancelled. We'll debate that later. I still have to go home. My Amma is also here. Amma, tell my Amma to save me. Look at this brain-machine interface is coming. Designer babies. Can a baby be designed in the womb? Yes, by CRISPR technology you can change the DNA. The Chinese are supposed to create better babies. They created a lamp in an embryo in a dish. This is terrible. You can't do this, right? Because there's a whole story of George Bernard Shaw and Anna Pavlova. Anna Pavlova is a famous woman, ballerina. The greatest ballerina in the world has seen. And George Bernard, philosopher. Anna went to George and told George, what happens if you have a baby with my looks and your brains? Then George said, what happens if the baby has my looks and your brains? So we should not fiddle with what is in the baby. God has made the baby, live with it. But they're fiddling with it and trying to change. And look at this, India, 1.42 billion people, 1.3 billion mobile connection, 1.2 billion people have Aadhaar. And they're there. We are in the midst of the industrial revolution. It's all there, data is there. And Modi has used data to make sure, Amma, that every Indian will have a roof over the head, water in the tap, power in the switch, a toilet in the house, a gas stove, a bank account, money in the bank, food on the table, education for children, a mobile phone, and health insurance. Swamiji, 30% of all social spending in India is going to Muslim community. Who says we oppress minorities? Muslims in India have more rights than Hindus. Hindus are the oppressed community in India. And we are accused of being anti-minority, Swamiji. How can we tolerate this? And in India, Modi has sent 32 lakh crores by DBT directly to the accounts of people. 32 lakh crores. And saved 2.5 lakh crores of a tax money, which is being eaten away by those thugs in the middle. So technology is the savior for India and is giving the ordinary Indian the power of technology, empowerment for everybody. Engineering, you look at education, 4.1 crore graduates in college. We produce more women graduates than men. Women are taking over. In America, 50-60% of graduates are women. In India, 51% related to population. And in future, it will go up. It's going up. Women are dominating India. They're coming into education. We graduate 1 crore young people every year. 1,200 universities, 55,000 colleges. But gross enrollment rate is only 27.3. It should increase. Women are more. Amma, I'll give you the social statistics. SC makes up 16.6% of population, 14.8% of students in college. ST is 8.8%, 4.8% in college. Minority Muslim minorities are 15%, only 5.2%, but growing at 7% a year from 2011-12 to 2019-20. Backwards of 40%, 36% in college. Our colleges reflect the social composition. Swamiji, it already reflects. Look at data. People don't look at data in this country. You must look at data. Our colleges have done a great job. And you can see here, right? We produce, 8 lakh engineers. And look at the general courses and everything else. And Amma is built one of the greatest universities of India, which I hope Amma will be like Nalanda. Amma's university should be the Nalanda of India. Now, this is going to change India. Our young entrepreneurs, Sridhar is a bit old, he's been there a long time. So am I. Our young entrepreneurs have 100,000 startups. The third largest system in the world created $500 billion of value. Our youngsters are creating 6,000, 21,000 got funded. And we have the world's biggest software service industry, $200 billion of exports, $135 billion of cash coming in, 55 lakh people are employed. 2 years back, we hired 500,000 people. 60% of global outsourcing comes to India. Of the top 10 software service companies by market value, 5 are Indian. Of the top 5, 3 are Indian. Of the 3.2 million employees in the top 10, 2.3 million are Indians. We dominate. America has 6 million software people, 1 million are Indians. Out of this 5.5, 60% work for American companies. Out of, 10 million working for American companies globally, 4 million are Indians. India is the only country with human capital to meet the needs of technology all over the world, where the Chinese don't want to go to America. They say Shanghai is better than New York. So we will dominate this industry, and this industry will change India and the world. We are a force for good for the entire world. Most of American companies' technology is powered by Indians. Because Nachiketa and Sridhar Vembu have not created enough jobs for us. Nachiketa didn't go to the US, he stayed back to build Bharat because of Swamiji and others. But look at this data. And today we have 100,000 startups. By 2025, 2 lakh startups, 250 unicorns will be second after US, employing 32 lakh people. Now we employ 16 lakh people. Great things are happening in India. All over India and all the pin codes, entrepreneurs are coming up. They want Panam. No money. From 2014 till 2022, US invested $2.32 trillion, China $832 billion, India only $140 billion, out of which 85-90% is come from abroad. Indians should invest. All of you should write a check for startups. And look at this, we export more software than Saudi Arabia exports oil. With 1% they export, 1% of workforce, we export more software than Saudi Arabia exports oil. Can you believe that? Only 1% of software. And we get $100 billion of remittance. Look at this data. And then, where are they? Amma, Bangalore. Come to Bangalore, Amma. We need your blessing. See, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai. If Sridhar goes away, that 4% will become 2%. Well, Sridhar, come to Bangalore, Sridhar. Because after Udayanidhi and all that made the remark, I don't know what is the future there. Look at this data. We got $42 billion in 2021. 22 to 25, this year only $12 billion because like Sridhar said, this winter, ginter and all is there. Next year we'll get more money. And then we got 109 unicorns. There'll be 250 unicorns. Unicorns are billion-dollar companies. Some of them may not survive, but that's okay. And then you can see the number of people unicorns created last year, 2021, 42, 2022, 25. And by 2026, unicorns value will go to $1.5 trillion. That's a great growth, and they're going to drive the economy. We got high-tech industries, AI, IoT, robotics, etc. One Britisher came to the office of mine and said, oh, in London, we've got companies which create apps. I told him every street, in Bangalore, in every street, every kid is creating an app. Because people don't know, see, they come to Bombay, look at all the slum thing, poor country, dirty country. They go to Delhi, they look at all the narratives, anti-Hindu narratives and all, they think that is India. Come to Bangalore. Bangalore, out of 1.2 crore people, 23 lakh people work in technology. They export $80 billion of software. They got $65 billion of money coming in. And we produce 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh jobs every single year. We got 1.1 crore vehicles and we got a traffic problem. And Bangalore's per capita income is $14,000 to $15,000 a year. And we have some 30 lakh cars on the road. Everybody is buying a bigger and bigger car to sit on the road with AC. And you can see here, leading companies on YouTube, Bharat, Swamiji, Bharat, see what Bharat is doing. And we have the power of the narrative, which all the media companies should be the power of the narrative. And see here, e-commerce is growing rapidly, all data. Sridhar Vembu, confidence innovator. Sridhar has gone to the village and done so much. If he was in Bangalore, he'll do 10 times that much. Sridhar, wapa ni. Jaldi wapa, Bangalore ko wapa. Look, Amma has blessed you to come to Bangalore. Okay? Amma has blessed. What Sridhar has done. One single man wearing a vesti, wearing a chappal, going in a auto rickshaw. Billionaire. Rambo panam irkudu. Rambo panam. Sridhar, kunchu kodopa. Some panam for me also. Poor man. And look at this. Bharatiya startups are ambitions at scale. Everywhere. Delhi University, do this, professor. Delhi should not be JNU, and Delhi is not India. Here you must do. JNU has got no future. And we created the India Stack, the greatest piece of public use software the world has ever seen. By India Stack, we gave an identity to 60 crore Indians who had no identity. If you lived in a village, you had no address, no bank account. 60 crores, 50 crore bank accounts are open. The India Stack, Aadhaar, 1.3, 130 crore people, digital locker, UPI, Jandan, 50 crore bank accounts open. No country has done it in human civilization. No country can do it again. It's taken 12 years under Nandan Nilekani with volunteers. Government didn't pay much. Volunteers did that. Bharatiyas did that. Working with the ideal to build Bharat. Our young people want to build Bharat. They want to give the power of digital to young people. All of you should know this because you should be proud of your country. World-class products are being built with open APIs. Free cost. We'll go from data poor to data rich. We'll have the largest public use databases in the world. 50 crore people, medical data available, totally masked with privacy so that we can have health startups to look at the human condition. And the disease of the world can be solved using technology to a great extent. And we can see Bharat Banking, 1,20,000 branches. We got about 203 lakh crore of deposit, 145 lakh crore of lending. And Bharat Banking is clean. Modi-san cleaned it up. He sent all those people, going to send all those people to jail. Some of them have gone to London. And newer banks are coming up. New kind of banks, neobanks are coming up in India. Digital payments, we're the global leader, went up from 5.73 billion to 13 billion in 2 years. Today, you can send money in an app and a UPI from one bank to another in 30 seconds. Poorest of the poor can send money. Look at the empowerment. And look at this, 10.56 billion monthly payments. And it's grown up. 42% of digital payments in the world belong to India. No China, no US, ella poichi. Look at this. Amma, you must pardon my Tamil. Very crude. New digital public goods. We are creating a platform called digital public goods will remain to public because the greatest danger for humanity is digital monopolies like an Apple, a Google and a Meta. They're threats to humanity because they collect your data and misuse the data. Like Meta used the data to Cambridge Analytica to manipulate elections. See the movie The Great Hack. Account aggregator framework as the public good has come to India. OCEN will enable credit. ONDC will give every mom and pop store the power of e-commerce. And we are the national health stack which will make sure the data is available to improve health for every Indian. And you can see open protocols. We're creating systems which are open. Nachiketa knows about this. So everybody can use. It's not controlled by any big company, Nachiketa. Whatever you wanted, see, is happening here. But the speed of change, look at this. 62 years for flying to go to 50 million. Pokemon, 19 days. Arogya Setu, 13 days. The new Twitter app, 2 days. Speed of change is what we've got to be careful. Everything is changing very fast. Our minds are left behind. Our young people are changing. So we must educate, our children will educate us in future. Children, small children tell us how to use technology. And Tatas are building up a great tech conglomerate. 1 minute. Yeah. And then in America, there are 4.2 million Bharatiyas, 1 million are software engineers, 90 unicorn founders are Indians. And you can see here, in the US, out of unicorn founders, 44 are not born in India, and Bharat is the biggest. 750,000 Indians are studying outside India. 150,000 are gone for getting masters and all that. Balance are gone to emigrate. We must start sending 10, 20 lakh of Indians to go outside to create Bharat in all countries. That's a gift to the world. Like Amma says, Vasudeva Kutumbamam, young people will go. They're enough left in this country. Sridhar is there. Sridhar is there. What Sridhar? Nachiketa is there. Swami Vigyananda is there. Look at this. Out of 1,300 unicorns in the world, China, India, and US make up 1,200. Where is Great Britain? It's a small country. Right? See the data. Then, there are a lot of experiments happening. A lot of people are creating entrepreneurship. They're all doing everything in the grassroots. And you see them bubbling up and becoming heroes. In Bharat is optimizing to empower problem solvers. Startups will be the force multiplier to create efficiency and take Bharat forward. So, thank you very much, and Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki! Bharat Mata ki! Amma ki! Amma ki! Amma ki! Thank you, Amma. Your blessings are required.
Well, I think nothing more needs to be said. You should see how much data he has. He was not seeing his slides. All the data was coming out of his head. That's why I said that he's a man with 1,000 ideas because he has knowledge and information in his head. And so, thank you very much. I will just conclude with a small quotation from Mahatma Gandhi. He wrote this small paragraph. He wrote, civilization is that mode of conduct which points out to man the path of duty. Performance of duty and observance of morality are convertible terms. To observe morality is to attain mastery over our mind and our passions. It goes back to what Sridhar was talking about. And this is very important. Please listen to it very carefully. He says, if this definition is correct, then Bharat has nothing to learn from anybody else. We notice that the mind is a restless bird. The more it gets, the more it wants, and still remains unsatisfied. Our ancestors, therefore, had set a limit to our indulgences. A nation with a constitution like this is fitter to teach others than to learn from others. We should be confident of what we have, what we are, what our capabilities are, and what future beholds for us. And we should work hard to get there. Dhanyavad. Tomorrow 9? There's a small announcement. Tomorrow morning after breakfast, please come promptly to the concluding, tomorrow is we have only plenary sessions, so please be here and we'll start our proceedings right on time. Dhanyavad.
Friends, there is another announcement. Please tweet and post in Instagram, hashtag WHC2023. Hashtag WHC2023. We are trying to trend in Twitter and Instagram. Please tweet and in Instagram post WHC2023. Thank you.